Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel today for another review. Damien and I are here to talk about what I feel before and now confirming is going to be the biggest movie of the year, and that is Barbie, that is coming to theaters July 21st. A lot to talk about with this film, but before we get into it, I just want to say the reason I feel so strong about this film is the marketing. I have not seen the film market in the way that this film has, and I obviously can tip the hat to the powers of Mattel, to the power of Warner Brothers Discovery in ensuring in every direction that you look, Barbie is there. And as it should be, this is one of the biggest IPs. This is a global phenomenon, and something for somebody who didn't play with Barbies. But you know, for that, shall I say, that small dose of what I thought Barbies are and what they were in my childhood, this film just only further explained and elaborated just why it is a global phenomenon and how it continued to stay relevant over all these years. And really the message behind the branding, which I thought was a really dope aspect to this film. But nonetheless, Barbie is coming to theaters July 21st. And Damien, going to send it to you as we wear our pink here. As you can see, we're festive for the screening we just attended tonight. For you, man, did you like this film? Did you love it? Did you dislike it? Did you hate it? Where you at on the scale here? Let's give our gradings off the back. Where did you feel this film?
Oh wow, off the bat?
Off the back.
2.5 stars.
Really?
And I say 2.5 stars. Yes. And I say 2.5 stars because I know I'm not the target audience going in. That was not made for me. And you know I'm the big nostalgia guy here at the channel, especially when I do my retro cartoons and I love my Transformers, my G.I. Joes. I know I'm not the market for this. The marketing, excellent. You know how I know it was excellent? I was on YouTube watching something else about Marvel Comics, and the Barbie movie came up in an animated form as far as advertising it. So that's how you know the marketing is great. Yeah. But I can only give it a 2.5, and here's why. Number one, random as hell. There were like 3 different movies in this movie. Like we had a buddy film, we had an escape part of the film, we had a weird romance, we had a dance off. There was too many genres going on at one time for my liking, and it was a little too much to keep track of. And you know me, I'm pretty expressive. So there were moments where I'm just like, what the fuck am I watching right now? And that's the point. That was the point of this movie, is to make you think it's not taking itself seriously, like you told me when we left the screening. And I think that's what they were going for. So off the top of the head, it reminded me of when I was watching a Lego movie, because I felt like this was a big toy plot to get people to buy Barbies after this is all over, because everybody's named Barbie, everybody's named Ken. So it's like, buy Barbies, buy Barbies. So we're going to have a whole new generation of young children who now want to play with Barbies, all iterations. You know, shout out to inclusivity. But aside from that, there was a lot of there was emotional depth that I didn't think that was going to be there. And I told you when we left the screening, this movie was nothing like I thought it was going to be. And I don't know, 2.5 stars, 2 3/4 if we want to be all star searchy, but I'm not going to say I love this film.
Yeah, I don't give grades, but easy for me. This is a 5 out of 5 because, on the contrary to you,
wow,
to your statement of not being a target audience, well, of course, because that's exactly what the film was going after. The fact of like, yeah, the Barbies is for everybody, right. And I don't think it was a measure of saying like Barbies, everyone can play with Barbies. I don't think that's the message. I think the message was saying that like, wow, Barbies were clearly targeted towards young women. It was for all women, and our perception of what Barbies are, because yes, there was this idea of like, oh, Barbie is this, you know, this chick who boyfriend is Ken. Well, actually, that's actually not what it is. So I think like it cleared the narrative up about what Barbies were, and then with a fantastic cast of really top
I'll give you that.
names right now. Margot Robbie, who's obviously our stereotypical Barbie. You got Kingsley Ben Adir, who is killing it right now on Secret Invasion as Gravik. Will Ferrell.
You know what? Within the first 2 minutes I saw him, I was like, is that the dude from Secret Invasion? And then it was, and I don't know if I can watch the rest of that show the same way now. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, just stay buckled up because he's Bob Marley come January. So, like, he's definitely about to have an amazing few months here. Will Ferrell's the Mattel CEO. John Cena makes a cameo in this. Helen Mirren is your narrator in this. Michael Cera, who everybody loves, he's Alan, completely funny. And one of my favorite actors in Hollywood right now, Simu Liu, I always get his last name wrong, but Simu as Ken, who just has continued to show his range over and over and over. And then obviously our ace in Ken as Ryan Gosling as the ace Ken in this. So, like, and that's just half the names that's involved here. I mean, Issa Rae's in it, but fantastic cast with moments for every character to shine, even though they're all playing Kens and Barbies here. But I thought the film knew exactly what it wanted to be. Like, it landed very heavy on the comedy. It got certain messages over. It changed narratives. It also had a very feminist background.
Feminist leaning.
Yeah, but like I also felt like it cleared the narrative up in terms of what a feminist is. You know what I mean? Like, you know, a lot of folks think you say feminist, it means like, oh, we hate guys, da 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 da. No, this was a more or less of like, we actually can do everything that guys can do, and it can be very normal, and that's just what it is. And I think like, and even though with all this that's happening in the film, you start to think like, well, what is this film actually going to be about? But and I feel you when you say like a lot of things are happening in the film, but I just think like at any given point from the comedy, which I thought the script was top tier, like the exchange of dialogue, even the layer with the narration, like everything just came together really well. I know I'm kind of jumping around a little bit here, but I just really can't find a reason to not like this film. The music was good. The animation was good. The fact that they were able to have a live action Barbie movie, but have it still feel like it exists in a cartoon space, and how it was just the production in terms of that, and how it was just layered in a way that like clearly you can see, like there was an overhead shot with Barbie inside the Barbie car, and it looked like a doll. Yeah. It looked like an actual doll car and a doll in it. Like things like that, they did like very well to keep the aesthetic of what a Barbie is, but bring it to live action, and then don't have it look too wonky as they're kind of flipping between the two. Yes, the backgrounds are two-dimensional on purpose, because that's just what it is, but paying homage to like the old school commercials for Barbies, which we've seen, you know, for years and years and years. Like they just did a lot of really good and thoughtful things with this IP. Obviously with Mattel right here at first hand, but obviously you can tell about the folks that were even influenced by this doll or had obviously known this, you know, this phenomenon to be there this entire time. So like, you know, I just feel like this was just all done with a layer of like integrity that like hit in every aspect of what a fan's appreciation is. And I mean, they went deep in the lore, way over my head in terms of like certain types of Barbie, these ones that were canceled, ones that were initially announced that were going to happen. I mean, I will cancel, but like ones that you know, they just talked about all the different iterations of Barbies. Ones they had out on the line, then they immediately had to pull. Like they hit all of those sorts of different things, and then you know, telling the background about it, but also telling the message with it. I just thought they did just a really good job in doing all that. And last thing I'll say is, they beat you in the head with all of this, and it never felt forced to me. It never felt like I was in like a class, a history class about the makings of Barbie. And under no circumstance I feel like I was watching a documentary. So it was just solid all around for me here.
So you're talking, and I'm thinking about what can I compare this movie to? And the theme of it all reminded me a little bit of Spider-Verse, because there were so many Spider-Man, and here everybody was Barbie, everybody was Ken. So there are these different, if you want to say, multiversal versions of Barbies and Kens out there. So representation was a really big part of this movie. And I know we as people of color have tried to see as much representation as possible. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed seeing the different types of Barbies. There's a Barbie in a wheelchair. There's a whole bunch of they brought back Skipper. Like, I remember Skipper, her kid sister. Okay, so I'm just like, wow, they really went back in the annals. And we also, for all you old heads who like Cheers, we got a Rhea Perlman appearance. I didn't even know she was still with us, and she played a really great role in this movie for the screen time she had.
Yeah.
The acting was definitely what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be cheese-tastic while still being a decently performed show or movie. Ryan Gosling as Ken. I'm gonna say it. I don't know if you knew it, but all fans of the Big Gold Belt Wrestling podcast, there was a part where he was dressed like Hollywood Hogue Ken. If you recall, I was like, whoa, wait a minute, is that by design? So he was able to vacillate between the different phases of Ken. It's almost like stages of grief. And as a psychology guy, I was like, oh man, he's going through it, like self-discovery. And I think the greatest thing about this movie is the message of self-discovery and being exactly who you are. Now, I will say that part, some people, not me, but some people will feel as if that was being hit over the head. Like they were really trying to hammer home this point of, to your point, equality, feminism, everybody deserves to have their own story. You and I both know there's a subsector of this world that isn't going to like that stuff. So I know I can just see the Rotten Tomatoes scores already. But yeah, I'm not trying to say it was a bad movie. It was fun. It was colorful as shit. Like the colors and the scenery, like you were saying, a lot of good scenery there. And I didn't even know America Ferrera was going to be in this movie. And I'm thinking, oh, haven't seen her in a while. So expert cast, well performed. It's just, for me, the pacing was just a little off and it became formulaic at parts. So that's why I'm giving it a 2.5, maybe 2 3/4 stars, but out of 4, not out of 5.
Yeah.
So if we're going to go to your rankings of 5, I'll give it a 3 out of 5 or 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah. Last little thing that I want to talk about is like what the plot was, and it is Barbie, the Barbie that Margot Robbie is playing. As I said, the stereotypical Barbie. She is starting to become, that's her name. Yeah, she is becoming defective, and in order for her to be defective, she has to reconnect with the human that used to play with her, which means that forces her to go into the real world as Barbie to reconnect with the actual human in order to make the human to kind of figure out what's going on with the human, but also make the human desire to want to make that connection back with Barbie. The human being, as you mentioned, America Ferrera, who is Gloria, and her daughter Sasha, played by Ariana Greenblatt. So you have that journey, and then there's Ken, who is just Ken, and it is the story of self-discovery of who is Ken without Barbie and who is Ken to Barbie, because Ken Day is good as long as Barbie pays him attention. But what if that isn't the case? And when Barbie goes on this journey, Ken decides he wants to go on the journey too, and Ken discovers patriarchy, and that's where the film.
Oh, we're going deep into this. Oh no! Okay,
that's all I got.
Right.
I was
trying to.
That's all I got. That's the plot.
Yeah. So what I was saying about people who may not like this movie, they'll like that part.
Yeah.
They'll probably like that part.
Yeah.
Patriarchy kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, again, I think the runtime of the film is what was just a little under 2 hours. It breezed by. There was a lot of good moments. The script was so good in terms of banter, in terms of like throwing little jokes in there. I mean, there's so many little things you could take from it. Either you could be really heavy into the lore of Barbie, whether you could just be somebody who's very big into pop culture. There's a little bit of something for everybody. Now, a couple of things I didn't like with the film, and I'll be really quick here, is as much as they marketed, I was actually hoping for more cameos. There was definitely some names in there. You mentioned there was definitely some names with some substantial screen time. But with the fact that there were so many Barbies and so many Kens, and with our groupings of the ones we've seen regularly through the film, I was hoping for a little bit more. Yeah, John Cena, who everybody knows casted in the film, is considered a cameo. But since that was announced, I was like, well, if they're announcing John
Yeah.
Cena, then who else is hiding in the film? And they really didn't get that deep into it for me. And I was hoping they were going to go kind of crazy with the cameos, but I was hoping for a little bit more cameos. And I think other than that, I don't know. I think other than that, I mean, I was fine. I mean, funny things. Again, you learn the history, but the credits were really cool. There's no credit scenes, but the credit was really cool because you got to really get what the Barbies that we seen in the film and the ones that were making jokes towards. They give you the background about them. You get the original art of who or what they were, or not either art or like the design print.
The box art.
Yeah, the box art. Thank you. Yep. So they gave you all of that. There was a lot of horses in this film for whatever reason. I never knew that men was so connected with horses. I get the beer thing, but the horses thing, I was like, okay. Ken wants to be from Texas so bad that it's blatant obvious that, and I'm not even going to give nobody else any more context for that. But there's that. But yeah, I'm done. I'm definitely done. I'm done.
Yeah,
I enjoyed this.
I will piggyback small. Yeah, I'll piggyback off of what you just said because my man Ken wanted to be Texan so bad, even though they were in California. And if you know anything about Texas, they don't really like California. So I thought that was a little wink and a nod. For those who don't know, I live in the Lone Star State. So I thought that was hilarious. But overall, like I said, it was an enjoyable film. I gave it 2.5 if I was rating out of 4 stars. Out of 5, 3.5, 3 stars. So decent, but not great.
Yeah.
And the credits, like you said, with the box art giving you a little bit, it's like going to a Barbie museum, like little tidbits on who this Barbie was, what this was supposed to be. I thought that was cool. I really thought that was interesting. And I know for a fact that Mattel's sales of Barbie are going to go through the roof after this movie. And maybe might be some time to invest in some Mattel stock, just in case, because this movie is going to explode in theaters, and it's already got a buzz from people of all genders and backgrounds. It's not just girls; it's everybody's talking about it.
Yeah.
And to your point, my pleasant surprise, Simu Liu was a real pleasant surprise because he had so much charisma, and I don't want to say he was antagonistic, but it reminded me of old Saved by the Bell episode where Zach and Slater were fighting it out for the affections of Kelly Kapowski.
Yeah.
And I just loved his performance.
Yeah.
So kudos to everyone involved. Like you said, it was a very star-studded cast. Go and watch this. Go and enjoy it. It's random as hell, and that's the point.
Yeah. Yeah. Last thing, I want to give a special shout out to a name that I think with all the big names in it, I want to just go back to America Ferrera again. Her role as Gloria is underratedly one of the best in this film. The moment this character is introduced, you're automatically connect. And I think when you talk about merch and merchandise sales, whether it's the toys, whether it's t-shirts, I think this character is a big catalyst to reconnecting the generation that stepped away from Barbies to come back to realize that it's just really okay and it's cool. And I think that's kind of the driven role with this character, but I think it's also going to open up like a level of acceptance for all ages on that note as well too. And I think like quietly, as big as this is a phenomenon in terms of the marketing and everything it does, I think like her role in this and her performance is like the icing of the cake that's really going to see the change in sales, or folks getting back reacclimated into the Barbie craze by way of this character. So I'm excited to see what it does. And if this film for whatever reason had not already done successful on the promotional side, it certainly I think is going to do very financially good once it hits the box office, once it comes out in theaters July 21st. Folks, get in the comments, let us know your thoughts, your excitement for Barbie, which I again feel is and will be the biggest movie of the year. we'll see what happens. But if it ain't the biggest, it certainly will be in discussions by the end of it, because I really can't find the issue. What was one of the funnest experiences I had in the theater this year so far. So we'll see. But anyway, y'all get in the comments, let us know your thoughts about it, and we'll be back for more reviews, content, and all that other good stuff right here at Big Old Belt Media very soon. Thank you for watching.